Hello guys, Izanagi here, and today I will be doing a video on British politics. Yes, I want for a change, it will be my own country's politics. So, yesterday, in case you didn't know, the Green Party won the by-election for Denton and Gorton. I believe I pronounced those names right. They are districts in Manchester, I believe. So, that's a great result. Now, why this is so good is because from what I know is these have been key Labour strongholds for the past like 100 years. Like Labour have always won them, and embarrassingly enough, they came in third place. So the Greens won, Reform came second, and Labour came third. It's pretty damn embarrassing, pretty bad. Um, yeah, I mean, wow, damn. They got 40% of the vote. I didn't even know that. So they got quite a decent majority. Holy shit. They're up 28%. Reform up 15%, unfortunately. Labour's down 25%. So last time they had this local election, they had about almost 50% of the vote. That is shockingly bad. The Conservatives, rest in peace, Bozo. They got 1.9% of the vote. And the Lib Dems, 1.8. Where is the crazy loony monster party? They're not on here, unfortunately. I'm actually surprised the Conservatives still got more votes than the Lib Dems. But then again, I remember voting for the Lib Dems back in the 2010 election. God damn, I'm fucking old. When I was 18, and they ended up going to coalition with the Conservatives. So I feel like a lot of people who would be traditionally left wing voters like myself are like still scorned from the Lib Dems, like stabbing them in the back. So they're probably like, yeah, I'm not going to vote for Lib Dems again. And all the people who were on like the progressive side of Labour have ditched Labour to basically vote for the Greens. Because current Labour, let me just check my OBS. Okay, good. Current Labour, as it stands under Keir Starmer's leadership, it's barely a centre-left government. If you look back on all the policies Labour's done, cutting winter fuel allowance for elderly people, wanting to cut disability benefit payments with disabled people, or make the criteria more harder to achieve in order to be actually be qualified to get the criteria for the disability payments. The only reason he actually backtracked on that policy because he faced a lot of like rebellion from his own party and people pushing back on it within the Labour Party themselves. Now he's also done he was going to push through the digital ID, and was an extremely unpopular policy on both sides, whether you were right, moderate, or left. He tried to push that for a while, and now he's completely backpanned on that. The surveillance stuff where it's like, oh, we got to protect the kids, so we need you to enter your personal details and ID every time you want to access 18 plus content on the internet. That was another stupid policy. There's one, which this is a minor one, where it's like you can't buy multi-packs of chocolate or sugary drinks, and there's like this weird thing now where if you go to a restaurant, you can't have infinite refills of like regular Coca-Cola. You can Diet Coke, but not regular Coke because it's got sugar in it. So just stupid policies after stupid policies, really. And even like left-wing policies, he's been really bad on. Now, there was the two-child benefit cap, which I believe he's uplifted, which is good. That's a fairly good progressive policy because, you know, people these days are actually hopping out or opting out of having kids because it's way too expensive because they can barely afford basic necessities like food, bills, rent, etc., etc. So I have been very generous when it comes to Labour and Keir Starmer. Very generous. He won the election with a fairly healthy majority, and within the course of like a year and a half, he has destroyed his reputation, which is quite remarkable, by the way. This is why centralism is dead. No one wants centralism anymore. It's either people voting for reform or green, because people want radical changes. Now, from the perspective of people voting for reform, yes, obviously there's a certain portion of that voter bloc that are just straight up xenophobic and racist and bigots, right? However, you can't generalize every single reform voter that way. That's not the case. A lot of them are just very disenfranchised, frustrated, normal working class people. And they have been deluded and fooled into believing that Nigel Farage, of all people, like, have you seen the picture of this guy? Look, I'll show you a picture. Not saying, like, he is just, like, this is, when I think of, like, a snake oil salesman, a used car salesman, this is what, Nigel Farage smiling. Okay, this is a good one here. This guy here, this slimy, snarmy looking motherfucker here, the multi-millionaire, like, people think that he has got their best interests in mind. Look at him. This is him after the Brexit vote. What a bunch of idiots. And this is going to be him after if Reform ever get elected. Like, this is him laughing at you guys, right? So yeah, so basically the point I'm trying to make is people have given up on the whole concept of centralism, and they no longer believe in the two mainstream parties being traditionally Labour and Conservative. They have now gone to more far left and far right kind of options. I am honestly leaning towards I am obviously on disclaimer in case you don't know, I am a lefty, so yeah. I feel like the Labour Party doesn't represent me anymore, and I'm very, very heavily considering Green. Now, if there was a scenario where it was like, okay, it's predicted Labour are gonna get the seat where I live, I would tactically vote for Labour, not because I prefer them over the Greens, but just because to keep Reform out, because, like, obviously, I've had a gun to my head, and they were like, you have to choose between Labour and Reform. I would obviously vote for Labour, not because Labour's amazing by any stretch of the imagination, current Labour, but they are just, in my eyes, the less of the two evils when it comes to Reform. Where Reform's only policies are, oh, we've got to get rid of the small boats and kick all the brown people and Muslims out. And that will basically transform the UK back into its prime of being the British Empire, and it will fix the economy, and people's wages will increase, and the standard of living will get up. You can read the Reform Manifesto for yourself. Don't take my word for it. There is nothing in that manifesto other than immigrants and small boats. There are no economical policies whatsoever. I'm just saying, like, if the only thing you care about is immigrants, I guess you're going to vote for Reform, but, like, don't think for a second they are actually going to fix your material conditions. Nothing is going to change in the UK. It'll only get worse. Anyways, I want to see Hannah's victory speech. I've seen this already, but I want to watch it again.
So I hereby declare that Hannah Catherine Spencer is duly elected Member of Parliament for the Gorton and Denton constituency.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't grow up wanting to be a politician. I'm a plumber. And 2 weeks ago, during all this, I also qualified as a plasterer. Because even in chaos, even under pressure, I get things done. I am no different to every single person here in this constituency. I work hard. That is what we do. Except things have changed a lot over the last few decades, because working hard used to get you something. It got you a house, a nice life, holidays. It got you somewhere. But now, working hard, what does that get you? Because talk to anyone here and they will tell you, the people who work hard...
The system's rigged. It's rigged in favour of the super ultra wealthy and the billionaires.
But can't put food on the table.
No, it's the broke-ass immigrant who came here on a boat. He's the one that's basically making it so that your wage has less and less purchasing power every year, and you can't afford a home, and etc., etc. It's the person that has nothing, not the person who owns everything. It's not the people hoarding the wealth, don't be silly.
Can't get their kids' school uniforms,
What
can't put their heating on, can't live off the pension they worked hard to save for, can't even begin to dream about ever having a holiday, ever. Because life has changed. Instead of working for a nice life, we're working to line the pockets of billionaires. We are being bled dry. And I don't think it's extreme or radical to think working hard should get you a nice life. We have shown that we don't have to accept being turned against each other at all.
I got to stand here and listen to this loony lefty woman. God damn it.
And we did this with the people who live here, side by side, shoulder to shoulder, just as we have always done in this constituency and in the whole of Greater Manchester. Because this is Manchester, and we do things differently here. Thank you so much to everybody. Thank you.
Nice. That was a good speech. She you know, she made it about the cost of living and the working class, and I think that's just like a really, because obviously, you know, the Green Party traditionally used to be their main forefront used to be the environment and global warming, and you know, historically, not many people voted for the Green Party because they were considered like a meme party, right? Which I kind of disagree with, because I think the environment is a very important issue that a lot of people, especially older people, don't really take into consideration, be it out of pure ignorance or maybe they don't research the topic. But, you know, like, climate change is not some sort of hoax that is trying to get money out of people. It's an actual legitimate thing that exists. But we can see with our own two eyes just how, like, the weather has changed in the past decade or so. How, like, crazy it's gotten. But the current variation of the Green Party is more focused on the cost of living and people's material needs, which I think is it's a lot more of a palatable political strategy to attract a more mainstream voting bloc, right? Because if they get elected, then they can focus on green policies, right? But making green policies the upfront issue of your campaign, I feel like it's not a winning strategy. I feel like what they're doing here is very, very good. Once again, I care about the environment, but you have to be realistic. People are going to care more about their actual, like, current condition than the environment. So it makes sense, right? Oh my god, it's dude, I had to take this jacket off. It's super hot. Oh, okay. Matt Godwin looking like a spoiled child being told he can't have something. Oh my god. These right-wing shitheads never cease to... I think he didn't clap, did he?
Everybody, thank you.
No, he took his hands out his pockets. Maybe he did clap and it was off camera. To give him some credit. Maybe. I don't know. But you can see the look on his face. He fucking hated that. Okay, so now we are going to go and see the reactions from different people. First up, we will get Keir Starmer, everyone's favourite centralist politician. We're going to see how he reacts. After this short ad break.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
I think most people don't know that.
I came into politics late in life, as it happens, to fight for change for those people who need it, the people who need an NHS that works for them, to be able to get a doctor's appointment when they need it, to get them...
Keir Starmer, like, blabbers on about change this, change that, but, like, he's basically he's a Diet Coke version of the Tories we had before. I'm going to be honest with you.
Money they need in their pockets to pay their bills and to have a decent and better life. And I will keep on fighting for those people for as long as I've got breath in my body. I will also fight against extremes in politics, on the right and the left, parties who want to...
Oh. I will fight against the extremes on both sides, the right and the left, yes. Those extreme radical lefties that want, you know, clean, renewable green energy so the environment doesn't kill itself and it's uninhabitable for future generations. Oh, those radical lefties that want to have a fair welfare safety net for people, for, you know, disabled people, for the elderly, for people who just fall on hard times and might be out of work through no fault of their own. Oh, those are such radical policies. Oh, the horror. You know what I mean? It's almost identical to, like, the far right that want to bring in fascism and state control and xenophobia and racism and bigotry, right? They're completely comparable, by the way. There's no difference.
To tear our country apart. The Labour Party is the only party that you can...
Honestly, this response from Keir Starmer, it made me dislike him even more, if that's possible. I've been very neutral and fair when it comes to Keir Starmer, but, like, he is just not only is he a vacuum devoid of any sort of charisma, he just, like, he's doing everything he can to alienate the left flank of his party, and who is that going to leave you with? The moderates? Good luck with that. Because if you're going to appeal to like right-wingers, they're just going to vote for reform or restore. The average right-winger who's anti-immigration hates Labour. They hate Keir Starmer. Because in the past he's been pandering to like right-wingers, trying to be like more anti-immigration.
Our country and our communities.
What a load of absolute toss, by the way. It's the world's most powerful parasite. Nothing can make it go. He's not uniting the country, tearing it apart. Unironically, this is probably something most like right-wingers and lefties can agree on, as Keir Starmer is absolutely useless. Now, once again, like I said before, if I had a gun to my head and I had to decide between him and Farage, I would pick him solely because he is the lesser of the two evils, in my opinion, from my perspective. And that's it. Okay? Alright. So now, we are going to get into the man, the myth, the legend himself. Good old used car salesman Farage. We're going to see his response. Oh, we're on the Telegraph, by the way, so expect only the finest intellectual, enlightened individuals in Britain to comment on here. Oh my. Now they're like, oh, we got to ban postal voting. Are they doing the fucking Trump MAGA shit thing? They're like, they're little babies, so they lost the by-election, and now they're trying to make excuses up. It's because of postal voting, that's why they won. Oh no, it's because families went to the polls together to vote. It's like, so much copium, dude. Accept this. Giant L. I know it sucks, but, you know, have a bit of decorum. Just accept defeat with grace. It's a by-election. Jesus Christ. Oh, they're going to say it's Somalian fraud. I can imagine that.
By-election is a victory. Yes, it's a victory for sectarian voting. It's a victory for cheating in elections. Back in 2015...
Dude, Farage is such a fucking Tesco's value Poundland Trump. He is trying so hard to hit all the talking points. Word for word. I don't know how anyone can vote for this guy. He's such a disingenuous toad.
It was a by-election in Oldham.
Oh,
I called it bent and corrupt because of the way that postal...
I think Farage is a bit bent, to be honest.
...votes were being corralled within the Muslim community. The same happened...
Morally speaking, he's bent.
...in Peterborough in 2019. And, you know, I even fought a court case against what I...
Oh my, I bet you, like, you know when you went in school and you had that one teacher and their breath stunk like absolute shit, like when they would, like, breathe near your face? Just based off, like, Farage's rotten teeth, I can imagine his breath fucking absolutely stinks. Ugh.
Saw when someone turned up with a supermarket bag with 1,000 postal votes in. Well...
I'm sure... Oh, God. Me when I make up scenarios that never happened. And these people are dumb enough to believe this, by the way. Based on no actual factual evidence.
In some ways, I've been on my own in trying to call out fraud in...
You know what the irony of this is? Is that if Reform won, you wouldn't even hear a spick of voter fraud. You know why? Because they won. It's so performative and disingenuous.
Politics, but... Last night, at the close of play, a very reputable organisation called Democracy Volunteers said in 12% of voting cases they had witnessed family voting. That means a husband and wife or more going into the privacy of the polling station and effectively watching how the other member of the family votes. This is illegal under the law, and yet it appears...
Okay, but... if he wants to make that argument, I have seen plenty of people on social media with right-wingers who'd be like, there's one picture I saw where it's like, me and my mum were voting for Reform, and it's like 2 postal votes, and like the daughter basically used her mum's vote for Reform. Now you could ask the argument, maybe the mum said in advance, I want to vote for Reform, sure. But this is like all conjecture, because you can easily have a family walk into a polling station and be like, I've done it before with my family. And generally speaking, if you know your daughter, son, husband, wife, you probably know who they're going to vote for anyways, right? Like, you live with this person, you know them, you probably know their political leanings. So you probably got a good idea in general you got a good idea in general who they're going to vote for. And this happens all the time, be it left-wing, right-wing. a lot of people do vote based on what their family members vote or their partner, their mum and dad, right? It's like, okay, I don't really... someone who's like apolitical, for example, is like, oh, I don't really care about politics. I don't vote, but my husband or my wife took me to the polling station and I'll just vote for whatever they vote because I don't really care. That happens all the time. There's nothing illegal about that. This is the very definition of basically grasping at straws.
That the council didn't do anything about it. So now there's a debate about fraud in voting.
And by the way, the Green Party won by at least 4,000 votes. So for this quote-unquote to be illegal and for it to be a stolen, rigged election, there would need to be 4,000 people that this scenario applied to, which you can't prove at all. And even someone on boots on the ground who worked at the polling station said that this never took place.
Very, very good thing.
So, there you go.
If I return to the theme, it's postal voting that is being abused massively in this country. We need to get rid of the list.
Oh, I hate these
the
fascists
only
so
people
much.
that should ever vote by post.
And yes, this is fascism. This is straight out of like a fascism authoritarian playbook where it's like, oh, we don't like the results of the election, so we are going to try and somehow undermine democracy because we lost and we're fucking butthurt. Yeah, these people hate democracy. They hate it. They only like it when they win, when they're in the winner's seat. That's why they're doing all this nonsense about, you know, family voter fraud and postal fraud. It's a load of bollocks, dude.
Are those who are elderly, infirm, or living or working abroad. That's got to be done. What conclusions do we draw? Well, our vote was good.
I don't think I can listen to Farage for more than a minute and a half. Like I literally do not. I feel like I'm fucking losing brain cells listening to this fucking charlatan. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. Now, there's someone else, Restore Britain, even further to the right than our good buddy here, Farage, which I have a conspiracy theory, and you can tell me if you have this similar kind of opinion. Oh my god, go fucking way. Shoo. But basically, I think the whole reason why Restore Britain exists is to make Reform look like a moderate centralist party in comparison, because Restore are like even further to the right when it comes to, you know, immigrants and anti-immigration policies. So that's my theory. My theory is that they're actually buddies, and this was like their kind of like plan they put together. It's like, oh yeah, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna make this even like extreme party, right? And I'm gonna take because before this, Reform had a lot of extreme far right elements in it, and Restore Britain is kind of like took those people away. So maybe to make Reform seem more palatable to like normies and people who are apolitical and centralists. That's my conspiracy theory. I think they're in it together. Yes, you could argue ultimately it does split the right-wing vote, so it is kind of like a disadvantage. But that is my theory. I genuinely believe that's what's going on here, to make Reform seem less racist and more palatable to like a mainstream voting demographic audience. Oh yeah. Nigel Farage's tweet. We'll read this first, then I'll move on to Rupert Lowell. The election was a victory of sectarian voting and cheating. Matt Goodwin was a great candidate for us. I mean, if he was a great candidate, wouldn't he have won you the local by-election? I'm just saying. Doesn't sound very good to me, bucko. It would be goodbye Starmer and goodbye Tory party. Now, this is the statement here I agree with. I think the Tories are fucking dead in the water, and if Starmer keeps this stupid centralist approach, he's gonna keep destroying the Labour Party slowly but surely. I think they might need to get a new leader. I don't even know if a new leader would change anything, to be honest. I think they're cooked at this point. Matt, bad loser. Dumb words from a dumb cunt. Yes, thank you. Farage once again is reading from Trump's playbook where Reform doesn't win 2019. No doubt Farage will be claiming election was rigged. Oh my dude. Fucking Poundland Trump. They're such losers. It fills my heart with joy, though, that the comment section is just roasting him. Because I'll be honest with you, Twitter is very botted. I mean, this guy is definitely a Restore Britain guy, I would say. Ethno-nationalist, yeah. He's definitely voting for Restore Britain. Now let's go on to Rupert Lowe. I will give some credit to Rupert Lowe, despite being a far right fascist. I think in terms of like how he presents himself on camera and how he talks, he is quote unquote more likable than Farage, which I guess isn't exactly a grand achievement, because even a piece of fucking dog turd on the sidewalk is more likable than Farage, right? But he just carries himself better, and he doesn't come across as so slimy and snarky. I have no doubts that he... Okay, so I think Farage doesn't really believe in what he's pushing, and he only cares about the grift in terms of gaining power and money and influence. I think Rupert Lowe, whilst I'm under no delusion that he doesn't value those things as well, I think for Rupert Lowe, it is more ideologically based, which makes him more dangerous than Farage. Right. He's not a Trump or Farage that's only in it for the power and influence and money. This guy generally believes in the ideology he's pushing. So that makes him even more dangerous. Not just because he's even further to the right than Farage. Foreign regime change. Okay. I can't say I disagree with that. Foreign intervention is bollocks, and it's never benefited Britain whatsoever. Okay. The true Geordie is ditched Farage, and he's voting for Rupert Lowe. What a surprise that is. Almost as surprising as like a fat kid running to McDonald's to get his Daily Meal. Yeah, I can't imagine the true Geordie voting for like a left-wing party. Yeah, that'd be funny. Does he really talk? I'm trying to find a post where he talks about the Greens. The Telegraph also published a piece insinuating the Restore is a Nazi. Okay, that's funny. You know when the Telegraph of all people is accusing you of being a Nazi, that is that's hilarious. The fucking most far right newspaper in all Britain. Yeah, I think the Telegraph are kind of under like Reform's payroll. So yeah, it is beautiful when the fascists fight amongst themselves. Yeah, I can't really see any post about the Green Party. I do wonder if Rupert Lowe was in Farage's position, would he be as graceful in his defeat as Farage is? I wonder. That'd be interesting to see. Not that I want Restore Britain to get anywhere near the sort of like voting base Reform has got. Fuck that, by the way. They're small fries at the moment, but I look forward to them like just pecking away at the Reform vote. Because the more, you know, anti-immigrant radicals are obviously going to jump ship and vote for Restore. Anyways, that's pretty much it. My TLDR takeaway from this news is that centralism in the UK is dead. The traditional mainstream parties, the centre-left and centre-right parties, they're gone. They're kaput. They're nada. People have tried them, and the experiment has failed each and every time. So people, for better or for worse, are looking for more quote-unquote radical options. Not that I view the Green Party as being radical compared to Reform or Restore. But people are looking for more left, far left alternatives and far right alternatives. And it's going to be a very interesting election. This upcoming election might be the most crazy election of my lifetime. Because it's no longer a fight between two centralist party establishment political parties. It's going to be between far-right fascism, xenophobia, hatred, bigotry, division, or kindness, compassion, investing in the country, and looking out for your fellow man. That's my opinion. You can feel free to disagree. Leave a comment in the comment section. Regardless whether you are voting for Reform or Green, one thing we can all agree on is that now people have actually 2 choices that they can choose from instead of just picking the business as usual. Anyways, that'll be all. I hope everyone has a nice day and peace out. See ya.